Let's be real, when it comes to open world games, the same few names always hog the spotlight. GTA, Skyrim, Red Dead Redemption, yeah, they're great, but there's so many hidden gems out there that most people completely miss. This list is all about those underrated bangers, the games with massive worlds, killer stories, and insane freedom that somehow flew under the radar. If you're tired of the usual AAA giants and want to explore something fresh, you're in for a treat. The Driver, San Francisco. Driver. San Francisco is one of the most underrated open world games out there, and it's honestly a crime how many people missed it. You play as John Tanner, a cop in a coma, who somehow gains the ability to body hop into any driver on the road. Yeah, it sounds dumb, but trust me, it freaking works. You'll be mid-chase, swap into a garbage truck to block off some cops, then jump into a sports car across the street to make your getaway. It's chaotic, stupid fun, and weirdly brilliant. The driving feels smooth as hell too. The cars have just the right amount of weight and speed, so you can pull off insane drifts without it feeling too arcadey. The chase sequences are easily some of the best in any open world game. You're flying over hills, smashing through fences, and barely dodging oncoming traffic, all while shifting into random cars just for the hell of it. It's the kind of game where you'll replay missions just to try out different stunts because it's that fun. And the world is amazing. San Francisco looks gorgeous with its steep hills, winding roads, and open highways. The city is packed with side missions, street races, and random challenges, but the real fun is just messing around. You'll spend hours swapping between cars, pulling off stunts, and causing absolute chaos. The story's surprisingly solid too. It's got this trippy, dreamlike vibe since it all takes place in Tanner's coma, which gives the game a weird, surreal edge. The characters are nothing special, but the whole thing has this cool action movie feel, and it doesn't take itself too seriously. Plus, the 70s style soundtrack absolutely slaps. It makes every chase feel like a scene straight out of a car chase movie. Honestly, Driver, San Francisco is just stupidly fun. The shifting mechanic makes it completely unique, and the driving is so satisfying that you'll keep coming back just to mess around. If you love open world games and you haven't played this, you're missing out on one of the most creative driving games ever made.
I enjoy it now, Jericho, because in the real world, I'm gonna break you.
Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning. Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning is one of those open world RPGs that kind of flew under the radar, but man, if you're into fantasy games, you need to give this one a shot. It's got a massive world, fun combat, and a ton of stuff to do, making it stupidly easy to lose hours without even realizing it. You play as the Fateless One, which is a fancy way of saying you died but came back to life with no fate or destiny. Basically, you're a wild card in a world where everyone's life is already mapped out. The plot has you trying to rewrite fate itself, which is actually a pretty cool setup. The main story is solid, but the real meat of the game is in the side quests and exploration. Now, the combat is where Amalur really shines. Unlike most RPGs that stick to slow, clunky combat, this one is fast, fluid, and honestly kinda addicting. You can chain together magic, melee, and ranged attacks, and it all flows smoothly as hell. You've got crazy flashy moves, finishers that feel super satisfying, and tons of skill trees to mess around with. It almost feels more like an action game than a traditional RPG, which makes even basic fights feel fun. The world is huge and packed with stuff to do. You've got lush forests, creepy swamps, and massive cities to explore. Sure, the world design isn't as open-ended as Skyrim, but it's still big enough to get lost in. You'll find yourself wandering into caves, clearing out bandit camps, and stumbling onto random quests that'll keep you busy for hours.
I'll go to the wilds and return. Now I shall.
Visually, Amalur still holds up thanks to its colorful, almost fable-like art style. It's got this vibrant, fantasy book look that makes the whole world feel bright and alive even when you're battling massive monsters. And the music and sound design, straight up top-tier fantasy vibes. But what really makes this game so easy to sink time into is just how smooth and fun the gameplay loop is. You'll set out to do one quest, then get distracted by some cool cave or side mission, and before you know it, you've been playing for 6 hours. The combat's fun, the world's packed with content, and there's always something to do, whether it's crafting weapons, looting dungeons, or upgrading your gear. The Sleeping Dogs. Sleeping Dogs is one of the best open world crime games that most people completely slept on, which is a freaking shame. It's basically GTA in Hong Kong, but with way better combat and a more personal story. You play as Wei Shen, an undercover cop who has to infiltrate the Triads, but it's not just some basic cop vs criminal plot. Wei actually grew up with some of the gang members, so there's this constant struggle between his duty as a cop and his loyalty to people he once called family. The story gets surprisingly heavy, with some brutal twists that'll stick with you. Now, the combat is, here, straight up awesome. Unlike most open world games that rely on guns, this one throws you into fistfights. The hand-to-hand combat is fast, fluid, and brutal. You're chaining punches, counters, and grapples together like you're in a freaking kung fu movie. And the environmental takedowns are so good and chaotic, you can slam a guy's head into a spinning fan, throw someone into a dumpster, or crack their skull against a payphone. It's nasty and gory, but so satisfying. The open world is smaller than something like GTA, but it's incredibly detailed. Hong Kong feels alive and packed. You'll be speeding through neon-lit streets, cutting through night markets, and cruising past towering skyscrapers. The city is dense with life, vendors are shouting, people are gambling in alleyways, and there's this grimy, lived-in vibe that makes it feel authentic. It's the kind of game where you'll wander around just to take in the atmosphere. And let's talk about the driving. It's arcade style and super fun. The cars handle loose and fast, making high-speed chases feel wild. You can drift around tight corners, ram enemy vehicles, and even leap from one car to another, which makes for some insane stunt moments. The bike chases are just as intense. You'll be zipping between cars and kicking riders off their bikes, which is stupidly fun. But what really makes Sleeping Dogs stand out is how much heart it has. Wei Shen is a flawed, relatable character. He's torn between two worlds, and the game actually makes you care about him. The characters around him, like his childhood friend Jackie, are written in a way that makes the betrayals and emotional moments hit harder. It's not just a crime game, it's a story about loyalty, betrayal, and the cost of living a double life. If you love open world crime games and you somehow missed this one, you need to fix that ASAP. It's got fantastic combat, a killer story, and a world that feels authentic. This is one of those games where you'll get sucked into the world, lose track of time, and end up wondering why the hell they never made a sequel. Mad Max. Mad Max is one of the most slept-on open-world games out there. Seriously, if you love games with gritty worlds, brutal combat, and badass vehicles, you're missing out if you haven't played this one. It's set in the Mad Max universe, which basically means desert wastelands, violent warlords, and total chaos. You play as Max, just a broken dude trying to survive in a world gone to hell. The story is simple but effective. Max gets ambushed by Scrotus, a warlord with a face only a mother could punch, and has to rebuild his car, the magnum opus, to take him down. But it's not just about revenge. The whole game is about surviving the wasteland, which is honestly half the fun. Now, the car combat is where this game really shines. You're tearing across the desert, ramming into enemy vehicles, and blowing them up with harpoons and flamethrowers. And bro, it never gets old. You can hook enemy cars with a harpoon and yank the driver out, or rip their tires off and watch them spin out of control. You'll plow through convoys, take out massive war rigs, and leave flaming wreckage in your wake. It's pure chaos in the best way possible. But when you're not wrecking cars, you're wrecking faces. The melee combat is brutal. It's basically Batman Arkham combat, but dirtier. You're punching, countering, and body slamming dudes into the sand. The hits feel weighty and savage, and when Max goes into fury mode, he just straight up demolishes fools. It's bare knuckle brawling at its finest, and it makes every fight feel visceral and raw. The wasteland itself is surprisingly gorgeous, despite being a massive desert. You've got rusted out settlements, twisted metal fortresses, and massive sandstorms that roll in and turn everything into chaos. The storms are honestly insane. They'll blind you with sand, hurl chunks of debris at your car, and make you feel like you're about to get torn apart. And when the sun sets, the game goes from dusty orange to deep eerie blue, making the whole world feel strangely beautiful. There's also a ton of stuff to do. You'll be clearing out enemy camps, taking down sniper towers, and scavenging for scrap to upgrade your car and gear, and the upgrades actually feel worth it. You'll add armor, spikes, and ramming bars to your ride, making it look like something out of a heavy metal album cover. Max himself can also be upgraded. You'll boost his health, fighting skills, and abilities, which makes the later game fights even more fun. What makes Mad Max so freaking addictive is how well it nails the vibe. You're constantly on the edge of survival with limited fuel, ammo, and supplies, which makes every encounter feel tense. You're fighting over scraps, raiding convoys, and watching the desert swallow everything whole. It's grim, dirty, and savage, and that's what makes it so damn fun. Just Cause 3. If you just want to blow stuff up for hours without overthinking, this is your game. You play as Rico Rodriguez, a guy with zero regard for the laws of physics and an endless supply of explosives. Your goal? Take down a dictator named Di Ravello, who's turned the fictional island of Medici into his personal playground. But let's be real, you're not here for the story, you're here to blow up military bases, ride jets into gas stations, and grapple onto helicopters mid-flight. The grappling hook is what makes this game so damn fun. You can hook onto anything, cars, helicopters, fuel tanks, and launch yourself through the air like a freaking superhero, but the real magic is the tether. You can attach two objects together and watch the chaos unfold. Want to tie a jeep to a statue and watch it yank the whole thing down? Go for it! Or maybe hook a gas tank to a helicopter, shoot the tank, and watch it launch into the sky like a rocket. The physics are absolutely ridiculous, and that's why it rules. And then you've got the wingsuit, which is honestly one of the best traversal mechanics ever. You'll be soaring across mountains, diving over beaches, and skimming the tops of trees. When you combine the wingsuit with the grapple, you're basically Spider-Man with explosives. It's so fluid and fun that you'll end up ignoring vehicles half the time just because grappling and gliding is way faster. But don't worry, the vehicles still slap. You've got sports cars, tanks, boats, and fighter jets all just lying around. And since there are no rules, you can just grab a jet, crash it into a base, and wingsuit away like nothing happened. The game rewards you for being reckless, and it never gets old. And the world itself is stunning. Medici is massive, with beautiful beaches, mountain ranges, and Mediterranean towns. You'll be flying over turquoise waters one minute, then paragliding through rocky canyons the next. The visuals still hold up, and the explosions make it even prettier. But what makes Just Cause 3 so damn addictive is how it lets you mess around. The game doesn't care if you ignore the story for 10 hours just to launch cows into the ocean with your grappling hook. You can blow up bridges just because it looks cool, or tether enemy soldiers to helicopters and watch them fly away screaming. It's pure dumb fun, and that's exactly why it rocks. Dragon's Dogma Dark Arisen. It's kinda like Skyrim meets Dark Souls, but with its own wild twists. You play as the Arisen, a poor soul whose heart gets ripped out by a dragon, literally. But instead of dying, you're cursed to hunt the dragon down and get your heart back. Pretty metal, right? The story isn't the main draw here though. It's the world, the combat, and the absolute freedom it gives you that makes this game freaking special. Let's talk combat, because it's easily some of the best in any RPG. You've got swords, bows, and magic, but the real fun comes from how weighty and satisfying it all feels. Fighting big monsters is where this game really goes nuts. You're not just whacking away at a giant cyclops, you're climbing up its back, stabbing it in the eye, and hanging on for dear life as it tries to shake you off. It's basically Shadow of the Colossus combat, but with more freedom and way more chaos. And the magic spells? Insane. You can summon freaking tornadoes, call down meteors, or unleash a wall of fire that torches everything in sight. The visuals and effects make magic feel massive and destructive, not just some basic sparkles. And the melee classes are just as fun. You'll be vaulting over enemies, slashing through crowds, and pulling off crazy combos. But the pawn system is where Dragon's Dogma really stands out. You create a main pawn, basically an AI companion, and customize everything about them. Their appearance, voice, class, you build them from scratch. Then, while you're offline, other players can recruit your pawn into their world, and they'll gain experience and loot. It's a brilliant system that makes the world feel weirdly connected, even though it's a single-player game. And you can recruit other players' pawns too, which means you'll always have a squad of skilled fighters by your side. The open world is huge and dangerous. Unlike most RPGs where you can fast travel everywhere, Dragon's Dogma makes you work for it. You'll be trekking through forests, scaling cliffs, and crossing dangerous plains where you'll get jumped by bandits or chased by a griffin. And when night falls, it gets genuinely terrifying. The world goes pitch black and you can barely see more than a few feet ahead. You'll be stumbling around with a lantern while wolves and ghosts stalk you in the dark. It's tense as hell, and it makes the world feel way more dangerous. What makes Dragon's Dogma so damn special is how unpredictable it is. You'll be riding on a griffin's back thinking you've won the fight, only for it to randomly crash into a forest, turning the battle into a desperate ground fight. You'll be wandering at night only to get ambushed by a freaking chimera you weren't ready for. It's raw, unscripted chaos, and it makes every session feel different and exciting. The Sunset Overdrive. Sunset Overdrive is one of the most underrated open-world bangers ever made. It's basically Tony Hawk's Pro Skater mixed with Ratchet and Clank but with way more explosions and mutant gore. The game takes place in Sunset City, where a new energy drink called Overcharge has turned people into freaky orange oozing mutants. The plot? You're one of the few survivors, and your goal is simple: raise hell, grind across power lines, and blow up anything that moves. It's stupidly fun and never takes itself seriously, which makes it freaking awesome. The movement is what makes this game so addictive. You're not walking or running, that'd be boring. You're grinding on rails, bouncing off cars, and wall running across skyscrapers like you're in some fever dream version of Jet Set Radio. You can chain moves together, which gives you insane speed and momentum, making it feel fast and fluid the entire time. You're basically skating through a mutant apocalypse, and it never gets old. And the weapons? Freaking insane! You've got guns that launch explosive teddy bears, acid spraying record players, and firework cannons that light up entire streets. It's like Insomniac Games took every ridiculous weapon idea they had and threw them all in at once, and somehow it worked perfectly. You'll be mowing down hordes of mutants while pulling off trick shots mid-grind, and it makes you feel like a friggin' superhero on a sugar rush. The enemies are just as wild. You've got mutants that explode into orange goo, massive bosses that hurl debris, and psychotic human factions trying to take you down. And the game throws them at you in waves, forcing you to stay on the move. If you slow down, you're done for. But the faster you go, the more stylish and chaotic the combat gets. The world itself is bright, colorful, and ridiculous. It's like someone spilled a giant bag of Skittles on a post-apocalypse. There are graffiti-covered skyscrapers, neon-lit factories, and over-the-top set pieces everywhere. You'll be grinding through roller coaster tracks, bouncing off inflatable billboards, and skating across power lines while the world explodes around you. It's pure, colorful mayhem. And the humor is on point. The game is constantly poking fun at gaming tropes and breaking the fourth wall. The characters make fun of side quests, joke about fetch missions, and roast game cliches in a way that actually feels funny instead of forced. It's self-aware without being obnoxious, which makes it feel genuinely fresh. What makes Sunset Overdrive so freaking good is how it doesn't give a crap about realism. You're flying through the air, doing backflips, and blowing up mutant hordes with fireworks, and the game just wants you to have fun. There's no overly serious story, no boring downtime, just pure, fast-paced chaos. Red Faction Guerrilla. You play as Alec Mason, a regular dude who just wants to mine rocks on Mars, but somehow ends up leading a full-blown rebellion against the Earth Defense Force, EDF. Sounds serious, right? Nah, this game is all about blowing stuff up, and man, it does that perfectly. The destruction physics here are insane, even by today's standards. Every building, tower, and bridge is fully destructible, and it all collapses in real time. You're not just shooting at walls and watching them chip away. You can take out support beams, plant explosives, and watch entire buildings crumble in the most realistic, satisfying way possible. There's nothing better than rigging a massive tower with remote charges, detonating it from a distance, and seeing it slowly tip over and smash into the ground. It's pure chaos, and it freaking rules. Again, weapons are wild as well. You've got remote charges that stick to anything, rocket launchers, and the nano rifle, which dissolves enemies and objects into dust. The destruction gets crazier the longer you play. At some point, you'll unlock mechs that let you smash through entire bases like you're in a Godzilla movie. The world itself is surprisingly cool. Mars is rugged, dusty, and weirdly pretty. The outposts, EDF bases, and Martian settlements feel gritty and lived in. But the best part is how the game encourages total freedom. You can take down EDF strongholds however you want, stealthily sabotage them, ram a truck through their walls, or just demolish the entire base with explosives. There's no right way to play, which makes it stupidly fun. The missions are packed with pure mayhem. You'll be ambushing convoys, rescuing prisoners, and blowing up supply depots. And the side activities are just as fun. You can drive into EDF outposts, cause as much damage as possible, and watch your rebel morale skyrocket. But honestly, the best part of the game is when you just ignore the missions and go nuts. You'll load up a truck with explosives, drive it straight into a base, and watch everything explode in glorious slow motion. Or you'll spend hours smashing random buildings with your sledgehammer just because you can. It's the ultimate stress relief game. If you've never played Red Faction Guerrilla, you're missing out on one of the best destruction sims ever made. The physics still hold up, the combat is stupidly fun, and it's perfect for anyone who just wants to blow off steam. Seriously, no other game makes demolition this fun. The Saboteur.
Hang on.
The Saboteur is one of those hidden gems that barely anyone talks about, but damn, it deserves more love. It's an open-world game set in Nazi-occupied Paris during World War II, but instead of playing as some serious, square-jawed soldier, you're Sean Devlin, a rough, whiskey-drinking Irishman with a personal grudge against the Nazis. And let me tell you, Sean doesn't hold back. The game's big hook is its black and white aesthetic. When the Nazis control a district, it's drained of color, making it look dreary and lifeless, but as you liberate areas by blowing up enemy outposts, sabotaging vehicles, and taking out Nazi commanders, the world bursts back into color. It's not just a gimmick, it feels incredibly rewarding. You'll wipe out an entire Nazi stronghold and suddenly the streets are filled with color, music, and life again. It's like you're breathing life back into the city and it never gets old. The open world itself is surprisingly cool. You've got Paris, its countryside, and German-occupied industrial zones to explore. The streets are packed with Nazi patrols, making it feel tense and dangerous, but the fun part is that you can climb buildings like you're in Assassin's Creed, which lets you sneak around, set traps, or just get a better view before you rain down chaos. And the missions? They're a blast. You'll be blowing up bridges, sabotaging fuel depots, and assassinating high-ranking officers. The game constantly pushes you to be creative. You can go in guns blazing, sure, but it's way more fun to sneak in, plant explosives, and slip out while the entire base explodes behind you. It makes you feel like a badass resistance fighter, not just some random open-world thug. The combat is pretty straightforward, but satisfying as hell. You've got old school pistols, Tommy guns, and grenades, and everything feels punchy and powerful. The stealth mechanics are also decent. You can sneak around in disguises and blend in with the enemy, which makes for some tense infiltration missions. But the best part? The vibe. The Saboteur nails the whole gritty, noir atmosphere. The black and white visuals combined with the smooth jazz soundtrack give it a stylish, moody feel that makes it stand out from other open world games. And Sean, the guy is constantly cracking jokes, dropping sarcastic one-liners, and drinking his way through the war. He's the kind of character you actually want to root for, because he's flawed, funny, and a total badass man.
Your homeland is such a popular tourist destination.
I don't get back much. Well, what are you then? Scotland Yard?
We are a dagger at the enemy's throat. The time has come to start cutting.
Last time I checked, your lot was losing this war.
Is that what you want, Mr. Devlin?
Immortals Fenyx Rising. It's basically Assassin's Creed meets Breath of the Wild, but with Greek mythology and a lot more humor. You play as Fenyx, a mortal warrior who gets caught up in a battle between the gods and Typhon, the big bad titan trying to wipe out all of Olympus. But unlike most Greek mythology games that take themselves super seriously, Immortals is surprisingly funny. The narration is handled by Zeus and Prometheus, and they're constantly cracking jokes and roasting each other. It gives the whole game a lighthearted, goofy tone, which actually makes it way more fun. The world itself is gorgeous. It's a bright, colorful version of ancient Greece, split into regions inspired by different gods. You've got Aphrodite's golden fields, Ares' war-torn wastelands, and Athena's majestic forest. It's not ultra-realistic, but that cartoony art style makes it feel more playful and timeless. The gameplay is where it really shines. You've got fluid, fast-paced combat that's easy to pick up but super fun to master. Fenyx can use a sword for quick slashes, a heavy axe for devastating hits, and a bow for ranged attacks. The game throws a lot of enemies at you, from harpies and minotaurs to mythical bosses, and the combat flow is slick. You'll chain together light and heavy attacks, dodge roll like a madman, and fire off godly powers to wreck groups of enemies. It's got just the right amount of challenge without being punishing. And then there's the puzzle solving, which is actually fun. You'll find vaults scattered across the map, which are basically Greek mythology themed dungeons. Inside, you'll have to solve platforming puzzles, move objects with telekinesis, and activate switches using clever tricks. They're creative without being frustrating, and they break up the combat perfectly. The exploration is super rewarding. You'll glide across the map, climb mountains, and discover hidden challenges. It's got that Breath of the Wild freedom where you can see a cool spot in the distance and just go there, and along the way you'll find chests with new gear, hidden secrets, and mythical creatures to fight. Oh, and the customization is surprisingly deep. You'll find armor sets, helmets, and weapons with different stats and abilities. You can upgrade your gear, tweak your abilities, and make Fenyx feel like your own unique character. Atlas Fallen Reign of Sand. Atlas Fallen is one of those AA open world games that kind of came and went without much buzz, but it's way better than you'd expect. It's a fantasy action RPG with fast-paced combat, huge bosses, and a massive desert world to explore. And the best part? You get to ride across the sands like some kind of magic-powered surfer, which makes just moving around feel awesome. You play as the Unnamed, a warrior who finds a powerful gauntlet that lets you manipulate sand and wield insane powers. The whole world is ruled by a cruel god called Thelos, and your job is to rise up, fight back, and bring freedom to the people. Yeah, the story is pretty basic, but the fun is all in the gameplay. First off, the combat is slick as hell. It's fast, fluid, and surprisingly creative. You're not just slashing with swords or shooting with bows. You're morphing weapons out of sand mid-fight. One second you're swinging a massive hammer, and the next it shifts into a pair of dual blades, letting you tear through enemies with flashy combos. You can also parry, dodge, and chain together insane aerial attacks, which makes fights feel super dynamic. And the momentum system is a game changer. The more aggressive you play, the stronger your attacks become, turning you into a freaking powerhouse. The world itself is massive and beautiful, even though it's mostly desert themed. You'll glide over the sand dunes at high speeds using your sand surfing powers to catch air, zip through canyons, and pull off wild stunts. It's stupidly fun, and it makes exploring feel fast and fluid. The map is packed with enemy camps, hidden chests, and puzzles that unlock new abilities. And the boss fights, freaking massive. You'll face off against huge corrupted beasts called wraiths. These guys are towering, multi-phase monsters that will wreck you if you're not careful. You'll be dodging massive ground slams, surfing around them, and chipping away at weak points in these cinematic, high-speed battles. It gives the game a Monster Hunter vibe, but way more fast-paced. There's also plenty of customization. You can upgrade your gauntlet, unlock new powers, and equip essence stones that tweak your abilities, so you can build your character around speed, power, or defense depending on how you like to play. But the real star of Atlas Fallen is just how fun it feels to move. The sand surfing mechanic makes even basic exploration feel cool, and the combat is stylish and satisfying. It's one of those games where you'll get lost just goofing around, pulling off crazy mid-air combos and surfing across dunes, completely forgetting about the main quest.
Why are so many willing to die for Thelos?
Submerged Hidden Depths. Submerged Hidden Depths is one of those games that's all about the vibe. No combat, no stress, just pure exploration in a beautiful flooded world. It's the kind of game you play when you just want to chill, soak in the scenery, and forget about everything else for a while. You play as Miku, a girl with strange plant-like powers, and her brother Taku. The world they're in is basically what's left after some big disaster. Cities are half sunk in water, buildings are crumbling under vines, and nature has completely taken over. Your goal? Sail around, explore the ruins, and slowly piece together what happened to the people who once lived there. It's simple, but oddly emotional. The exploration is super relaxing. You'll cruise around on your boat, stopping at overgrown towers and old temples. Once you're on land, you'll climb, jump, and solve light platforming puzzles. It's never too tricky. The whole point is to just take it easy and enjoy the ride. And the world itself is again freaking stunning. The ocean is calm and endless, and you'll spot massive statues poking out of the water, faded by time. The lighting is gorgeous with soft sunsets, golden reflections, and bright, colorful vegetation covering the ruins. It kind of feels like you're walking through a painting. And even though there's no dialogue, the story still hits pretty hard. You'll find little clues like carvings, notes, and old relics that show how the world slowly fell apart. The game never spells it out, which makes it more mysterious and haunting. There's also a sweet sibling bond between Miku and Taku. You'll see them helping each other out, and it gives the whole journey more heart. What's cool is how immersive the whole thing feels. When you're sailing, the water looks and sounds super calming. You'll glide across gentle waves, sometimes spotting sea creatures beneath the surface, and when you pull up to a location, the soft music kicks in, making the whole thing feel peaceful and almost dreamlike. Submerged Hidden Depths is one of those games that sneaks up on you. You start it just wanting a quick casual game, but before you know it, you're lost in its world, fully chilled out. It's the perfect game for when you want to zone out and just vibe. No fights, no timers, just pure laid-back exploration. If you're in the mood for something slow, calming, and easy on the soul, this one's worth checking out. Arisen 2 Dark Waters. Arisen 2 Dark Waters is one of those janky, rough around the edges games that still somehow pulls you in and refuses to let go. It's a pirate-themed open-world RPG with clunky combat, questionable animations, and more bugs than a swamp, but man, it's freaking charming as hell. If you're into games like Gothic or Two Worlds, you'll feel right at home here. You play as a nameless hero, which is honestly pretty fitting for a game this scrappy. After the world gets wrecked by titans, the seas are basically overrun with monsters, so you join a ragtag group of pirates to hunt for ancient artifacts that might be able to save the world. But honestly, the main story is kinda just there. The real fun is in the pirate nonsense, drinking rum, dueling shady characters, and getting into all kinds of ridiculous trouble. The open world is surprisingly fun to explore. You'll visit tropical islands, shady pirate towns, and cursed temples, all while looking for treasure and causing mayhem. The locations feel grimy and lived in, with crumbling shacks, muddy streets, and seedy taverns where you can gamble or pick fights. It's got that gritty, old-school RPG charm where nothing feels polished, but it's weirdly immersive. Now, let's talk about the combat, which is, well, kinda janky. You'll swing swords, shoot flintlock pistols, and even train a pet monkey to steal from enemies. But the fights are clunky as hell. The animations are stiff, and the hit detection feels like you're fighting underwater. Yet, somehow it still kinda works. The game leans into the chaos, letting you fight dirty by throwing sand in people's faces, kicking them, or using voodoo magic to mess with their heads. It's sloppy but oddly fun, especially when you start mixing guns and magic into the brawls. The pirate setting is what really makes the game shine. You'll guzzle rum to heal, duel other pirates, and talk your way out of situations with some rough, roguish charm. The dialogue is packed with crude humor and gruff pirate banter, making it feel more genuine than most clean-cut fantasy RPGs. And the voice acting, it's awkward in the best way. Kinda clumsy, but weirdly endearing, like the game knows it's a bit of a mess and just rolls with it.
Learn to talk from listening to pirates. Fuck yes!
And yeah, it's buggy as hell. You'll clip through the environment, get stuck on rocks, and watch NPCs spaz out randomly, but that's part of the charm. It feels like one of those early 2000s games where the jankiness kinda makes it better. Arisen 2 Dark Waters is not a perfect game. Far from it. It's clunky, messy, and full of flaws, but that's also why it's so fun. If you can get past the jank, you'll find a scrappy pirate RPG with surprisingly good exploration, a cool voodoo magic system, and some genuinely fun pirate shenanigans. It's the kind of game where you'll start off rolling your eyes at how rough it is, but by the end, you'll be completely hooked. The Sinking City. The Sinking City is one of those slow burn, atmospheric, open world games that sucks you in with its creepy vibe and keeps you guessing the whole way through. It's a Lovecraftian detective story, which means you're in for a lot of weirdness, some trippy mind-bending moments, and plenty of unsettling encounters with stuff that shouldn't exist. You play as Charles Reed, a private detective who shows up in Oakmont, a city that's literally drowning under a supernatural flood. The place is falling apart, streets are flooded, buildings are crumbling, and the people are losing their minds. Everyone's either suspicious, crazy, or both, and they all look like they haven't slept in years. You're there to investigate the mystery behind the city's descent into madness, but you've also got your own demons to deal with. Charles keeps having disturbing visions and hallucinations, which only get worse the longer he stays. The detective work is the heart of the game. You'll explore crime scenes, gather clues, and piece together what's going on, but unlike most games, it doesn't hold your hand. There's no blinking objective marker or flashing arrows telling you what to do. You actually have to think like a detective, cross-reference clues, use old-school map coordinates, and figure stuff out on your own. It makes you feel like you're solving real cases, which is pretty rare in games. The city itself is creepy as hell. The streets are half flooded, so you'll travel by boat gliding past rotting houses and abandoned piers. Sometimes you'll spot disturbing stuff like mutant fish people dragging bodies or half-sunken wrecks with strange symbols painted on them. The whole place feels sick and rotting, and the oppressive fog makes it even more unsettling. It's the kind of game where you'll find yourself constantly on edge just from the atmosphere alone. And then there's the combat, which, well, isn't the highlight, let's be real. You'll fight nightmarish creatures, slimy tentacled horrors straight out of Lovecraft's fever dream. You'll shoot them with old school guns, but the aiming feels a bit clunky and ammo is super limited, which makes every encounter feel tense and desperate. The game isn't really about the action though, it's about the dread and mystery, and it nails that perfectly. What makes the Sinking City stand out is how immersive and bleak it feels. The people in Oakmont are just as disturbing as the monsters. You'll meet cults, corrupt cops, and rich families with dark secrets, and they're all messed up in their own way. The game doesn't shy away from uncomfortable themes, making the whole thing feel grim and oppressive. Days Gone.
We don't have hope for a better life.
Alright, at this point, Days Gone has, well, it's aged like a friggin' beast. It's a post-apocalyptic, open-world game where you're just a guy, his bike, and a whole lot of zombies. But what makes it stand out is how personal and grounded it feels. It's not about saving the world, it's about surviving it. You play as Deacon St. John, a gruff, no-nonsense biker who's barely holding it together. The world's gone to hell, and he's still clinging to the hope that his wife, Sarah, might still be alive. But don't expect some cheesy, over-the-top action hero. Deacon's just a broken dude trying to keep going, and that gives the whole game this raw, human feel that a lot of post-apocalyptic stories miss. The open world is straight up gorgeous. You're out in the Oregon wilderness with forests, mountain roads, foggy marshes, and abandoned towns falling apart. But it's not just for show. The weather actually matters. Rain messes with your visibility, mud slows you down, and freakers are more aggressive at night, making every ride feel unpredictable. And the bike, yeah, it's not just for looks, it's your lifeline. You'll need it to get around, but you also gotta take care of it. Run out of fuel? Good luck hoofing it across the wilderness with freakers closing in. The bike feels like an extension of Deacon, which makes it way more meaningful than your average open world vehicle. Upgrading it with better speed, handling, and nitro boosts makes it feel like your own personal escape pod. But the real stars of Days Gone? The hordes. Good god, these things are freaking terrifying. You'll wander into a sawmill or a gas station, thinking you're clearing out a few freakers, and suddenly, BAM! You're being chased by hundreds of them. And they don't just stumble around, they sprint, climb, and swarm you like a damn tidal wave. It's pure chaos. You'll set traps, chuck Molotovs, and pray you've got enough ammo to make it out. The combat itself is satisfying as hell. You'll use everything you've got, guns, melee weapons, crossbows, and explosives, but ammo is constantly running low, so you gotta be smart. There's also stealth, which actually works well here. Sneaking through enemy camps, silently taking out raiders, or using freakers to wipe out rival factions never gets old. And even with all the action, Days Gone still hits you in the feels. The relationship between Deacon and Boozer is surprisingly genuine, two broken guys leaning on each other. Boozer's struggle with his injuries and Deacon's constant guilt make their friendship friendship feel real, not just another side character subplot stuff. Days Gone is one of those games that sneaks up on you. You go in expecting another zombie game, but what you get is a grounded, emotional story about loss, hope, and survival. And the more time you spend with it, the more it hooks you. It's gritty, messy, and doesn't pull any punches, making it one of the most underrated open world experiences out there. If you missed it at launch, you owe it to yourself to play it now.
What does it matter if everyone else is dead?
Rage 2. Rage 2 is the definition of a dumb, fun time, and I mean that in the best possible way. It's not trying to blow your mind with deep storytelling or emotional moments. Nah, this game just wants you to go nuts, blow stuff up, and have a damn blast doing it. It's basically Mad Max on bath salts with bright neon colors, insane weapons, and open-world chaos that never takes itself too seriously. You play as Walker, a no-nonsense badass living in a post-apocalyptic wasteland. The story? It's there, technically. You're fighting against some evil authority that's trying to control the world, but once again, I know, and let's be real, nobody's here for the plot in these games, you're here for the carnage. The game throws you into a massive open world filled with roving bandits, mutant freaks, and oppressive military goons, and it gives you every tool you need to make them all regret existing. And man, the combat, holy crap. It's fast, brutal, and just pure mayhem. You've got over-the-top guns, but the real fun comes from the abilities. You'll slam into the ground, sending enemies flying like ragdolls. You'll dash around at super speed, crushing skulls before they even see you, and you've got this psychic push move that lets you yeet people off cliffs or into exploding barrels. It's stupidly satisfying. The whole thing feels like Doom mixed with Just Cause, and it never stops being fun. The open world itself is big and colorful, but it's also kinda empty. You'll ride around in Mad Max style vehicles, but there's not a ton of depth to the exploration. It's mostly just cool places to fight in. You'll find bandit camps, mutant nests, and random chaos waiting to happen, but the world's main purpose is to give you more stuff to destroy. And honestly, that's all it needs to be. Oh, and the vehicles? Freaking wild. You'll be driving around in tanks, monster trucks, and hovercrafts, all armed to the teeth. The car combat is actually pretty solid, with boosts, mounted guns, and over-the-top explosions. It's not super deep, but it's fun as hell to ram bandit vehicles off the road and watch them go up in flames. Visually, Rage 2 is weirdly beautiful. The wasteland isn't just brown and dusty, it's got vibrant pinks, purples, and oranges splashed everywhere, making it feel surreal and trippy. It's like the Mad Max apocalypse got a cyberpunk paint job, and it weirdly works. But if you're looking for a deep open world experience or meaningful progression, Rage 2 probably ain't it. The side content is pretty repetitive and the world doesn't have much personality outside of the combat, but honestly, who cares? You're here to wreck everything in sight, and in that department, Rage 2 absolutely delivers. It's stupid, loud, and messy as hell, but that's what makes it so fun. Sometimes you just want to shut your brain off and go wild, and Rage 2 nails that perfectly. If you're in the mood for pure chaos, this game won't let you down.